Hello pilots and welcome to the continuation of our faction breakdown series. My name is Phil. In this video we'll be looking at the final ships of the Galactic Empire faction, including the now standard TIE bombers and even the epic ships. We'll be looking at their stats, dials, general role, notable pilots, and our pros and cons for each ship. Getting us started, we have the TIE bomber. Now, as we mentioned, the ship has only just become standard with the Empire starter pack, and we are incredibly excited for this ship to see more play. Looking at the stat line, you're going to get 2 red dice, 2 green and 6 hull. No shields, which is quite common for your basic TIE style chassis. The action bar gives you focus, target lock, barrel roll to red target lock and the red reload action. The ship has a pretty solid dial for a bomber with 1 to 4 straight, with only the 4 not being blue. You get the white 1 bank, all the 2s with the banks being blue and all the 3s. You also have access to the 3 and 5 K-turns. This ship comes with one of my favourite ship abilities, the Nimble Bomber, allowing you to drop a device with the bank template instead. This is very powerful when combined with either thermal detonators or skilled bombardier. Whilst this ship is a bomber, you'll most likely find it packing missiles or torpedoes rather than an excess of devices, with most pilots in the roster having multiple forward munition slots and multiple abilities that play into this preference. As well, we will see with the notable pilots. Sticking a cheeky device on here can be very rewarding though, as using the Nimble Bomber you can curve a cluster mine into a flanking opponent. Looking at notable pilots, it's quite tricky as the 4 named pilots all have really good abilities, but for us you can't go wrong with Captain Jonas. In a formation favouring munitions, he is a very valuable asset with his ability, which is while a friendly ship at range 0 to 1 performs a torpedo or missile attack, that ship may reroll up to 2 attack dice. This is very powerful, allowing you to potentially save a lock for a later turn, or even get some extra focuses down. At I4, he is in a really good spot to get some punches in onto other swarms. Just behind Jonas we have Major Reimer, again at I4. With his ability, while you perform a torpedo or missile attack, you may increase or decrease the range requirement by 1 to a limit of 0 to 3. Suddenly you have a range 1 to 3 proton or plasma torpedo, a range 1 to 2 advanced proton torpedo, or even a range 1 to 3 proton rocket, and this is definitely something to be wary of if you're coming up against it. Positives for the ship are definitely the pilot abilities, which can really reward you with some extra firepower just when you need it. 6 hull is nothing to turn your nose at either. That being said, you don't have any shields and only 2 evade dice, so you can run foul of crits easy, as with a lot of ties, but it is a welcome addition to the standard ranks. Next up we have my favourite ship in the game, the TIE Phantom, and oh how I wish this ship was standard and could get some love, possibly with some standard loadout cards. With 3 red dice, 2 green, 3 hull and 2 shields, it may not seem like anything special at first, but that's where the action bar comes into effect. You get focus, evade, barrel roll and the cloak action. The inbuilt ship ability is where things get truly interesting, the Stygian Array. After you decloak, you may perform an evade action. At the start of the end phase, you may spend 1 evade action to gain 1 cloak token. This ability pairs up really well with Duke if you're willing to spend the points on it. When you want to get defensive, Cloak gives you an additional 2 evade dice when defending. The dial on this ship is stacked as well with all of the hard and bank turns, with a 2 bank being blue. You get 2 to 4 straight with 2 and 3 being blue, and you also get a 3 and 4 K turn. This ship is great at getting into unexpected places and hitting your opponent hard, and getting out of there to come back in again. This ship can move very quickly across the board with its decloaks, so it can be good for scoring early objective points before turning on your enemy. Those of you who watched a few of our videos will know that there's only 1 pilot that we're ever likely to pick as a notable pilot, and that is Whisper herself. A solid I5 ace with her ability, after you perform an attack that hits, gain 1 evade token. This works really well in keeping her defensively strong and giving her the extra chance to cloak in the end phase. This ship can be very much of a glass cannon. It's very manoeuvrable and can punch hard, but if it gets caught out it can go down quickly with only 2 evade dice naturally. Since the most recent points update, you'll have some tough decisions to make on what upgrades you want to take, as the obvious Duke is going to eat up a lot of your points. Like most Ace platforms, if flown well, it can be a force to be reckoned with. Now to look at the last small base TIE chassis, we have the TIE Aggressor. This ship has fallen off most people's radars. It's the only TIE that can actually be equipped with a turret. This ship has all the markers for a solid ship. It has 2 red dice, 2 green dice, 4 hull and 1 shield. You'll get focus, target lock and white barrel roll to red evade on its action bar. And this ship has a solid dial similar to the bomber with a 4k turn instead of the 3 and 5. This ship will provide another platform for munitions which can pair great with Captain Jonas to thin the opposing formation. The turret also provides an additional angle of attack or even a bonus attack if using mixed Mayfield. Our pilot choice for the TIE Aggressor is Double Edge. With his pilot ability, after you perform a turret or missile attack that misses, you may perform a bonus attack using a different weapon. This can be quite useful at stripping tokens from your opponent's ships, although this is best used on those low initiative swarms. Now, as we mentioned, this ship has all the hallmarks to be a good addition to your force, but there are a lot stronger options. And while it is the Empire's attempt to answer the wiring, it's not quite bulky enough and doesn't quite fit that Empire ethos, so it's unlikely you're going to see it. Again, we hope that when this gets re-released in the game that we might see some new pilots or standard loadout cards, because it's a cool looking ship that we would love to see on the table more often. Now for the last small spaceship of the Empire for now, and one that we know a lot of players would love to see make its way into standard play, is the Alpha class Starwing. This ship made a lot of waves in version 1 when it was introduced and can still be incredibly fun to fly in version 2. With 2 red dice, 2 evades, 4 hull and 3 shields, this ship is bulky enough to take a few hits whilst dishing out some damage. For actions you get focus, target lock, slam and reload. The dial doesn't have any quick turnaround moves, but you do get 1 through 4 straights, with the 1 and 2 being blue and 4 being red. You also get all the bangs with the 2 being blue and the 2 and 3 hard white turns. Now a huge draw for the ship is the 2 config cards you can equip. Firstly, we have the OS1 Arsenal loadout. While you have exactly 1 disarm token, you can still perform torpedo or missile attacks against targets you have locked. If you do, you cannot spend your lock during the attack. This also gives you a torpedo and missile slot. Or if you prefer, you can pick the XG1 Assault configuration. While you have exactly 1 disarm token, you can still perform cannon attacks. While you perform a cannon attack while disarmed, roll a maximum of 3 attack dice. And this config also gives you the cannon slot. Now these configs are very powerful as you're able to avoid the penalty for slamming across the board and getting some early shots in on your opponent. For notable pilots, we'll look at both of the named pilots, starting with Major Vinder. His ability makes him a very tough nut to crack. While you defend, if you are disarmed, roll 1 additional defense die. With the right config, this can really cause havoc for your opponent early in the game and get you into a great position to score some objectives. Next up, we have Lieutenant Kasabi. After you gain a disarm token, if you are not stressed, you may gain 1 stress token to remove 1 disarm token. This is another pilot that can really benefit from slamming across the board, and if the config doesn't give you the right option, you can switch back to your main weapon. Now this ship is fast and bulky, and with its configs you can really get to grips with your opponent, disrupt their plans, while the rest of the squadron scores points and comes in to clean up. The trickiest part with the ship is knowing which config to take and when to slam or not, as you can run the risk of slamming too early and getting yourself into a potentially awkward position. Moving up to the medium base ships, we have the bomber's bigger and meaner brother, the TIE Punisher. A very imposing sight on the board with its 5-part hull and massive wingspan. This ship is going to do everything your bomber does, but with just that little bit more oomph. This ship did also see a good amount of play at the start of version 2, but with it being an extended ship, it's not as widely used. Like the bomber, it has 2 red dice and 6 hull. It only has 1 green dice, which is quite common for your medium base ships, but you do get 3 shields, making it a lot tougher to take down. Action-wise, you're going to get focus, target lock, red barrel roll, boost to red lock, and reload. The dial favours slower manoeuvres with the 1 and 2 straight and the 1 banks being blue. It gets the red stop as well. You get all of the 2s and 3 speed basic manoeuvres with the 3 hard being red and a 4k turn to get you turned around nice and quick. This ship can be loaded out with so many upgrades, and depending on which named pilot you take will determine whether you go device or munition heavy, with both of their abilities leading into that loadout choice. For us, the notable pilot here is Redline and his ability, which is that you can maintain up to 2 locks. After you perform an action, you may acquire a lock. This is incredibly powerful as it's not a lock action, so this can be done after performing the red barrel roll or even the linked target lock. And with a torpedo slot and 2 missile slots, you're likely to be able to put out a lot of firepower. Now, these ships look great on the board and are a solid platform for your bombs and missiles, however they are quite a big point sink, with Redline currently being 7 points, so it's going to make you want to be as efficient with this ship as possible when it's on the board. The 1 evade dice is going to make you wary of getting right in close, but the abilities of these ships are worth the effort if you can pull them off. And finally, for regular play, we have the iconic Lambda, or as it is affectionately known, the Space Cow. It is surprising the ship has not yet been re-released, and it's used to be a staple of lists in version 1, and we feel it's only got better with its new stat line. This ship is a great place to bring your support crew into the game, providing bulk to hide them behind, while still being able to put out a decent amount of firepower and supporting the rest of your squadron. With a 3 red dice out the front arc, 2 red dice out the back, 1 evade, 6 hull and 4 shields, it will take some sustained fire to take it down quickly. Action-wise, you get focus, reinforce, coordinate and the red jam. While it doesn't have a lock natively, with the title card ST321, you can gain locks. After you perform a coordinate action, you may choose an enemy ship at range 0 to 3 of the ship that you coordinated. If you do, acquire a lock on that enemy ship, ignoring range restrictions. This is an incredible ability that will allow you to improve the action economy across your squadron, as not only do you get that extra action there, you've coordinated a ship that could potentially be going after or have just moved and get it into a really nice position. Now, it's not called the Space Cow for no reason, as the dial shows. It has the red stop, 1 bank and straight that are blue, all the 2s with the hard turns as red, the straight as blue, and the red 3 bank and white 3 straight. This thing is not turning around quickly, but the rear gun is where the ship got a nice improvement from version 2. For notable pilots, all 3 of the named pilots have good abilities, however we'd like to have a look at Captain Kargi, the I-4 pilot, and his ability. At the start of the engagement phase, you may choose 1 or more friendly ships at range 0 to 3. If you do, transfer all enemy lock tokens from the chosen ship to you. Now, this is a really good and sneaky ability that can be used to negate those great modified shots your opponent has just lined up against your ace. It can even mean that the lock is essentially useless for that turn, as you could actually be out of range of those munitions that they're wanting to look at. All in all, the Lambda is a great looking ship and can be equipped with a number of solid upgrades to aid your squadron. With its high health and dual arc, it is less scared of getting into the action now. If it does get out of position, it can take some time to bring it back into the fight, and your opponent can potentially keep it in a good position to avoid its guns, but we can't wait for this to come back as standard play for the game. And finally, for the Empire, we're going to have a quick look at the epic ships. Now, these haven't been adapted points-wise for 2.5 yet, but we can't wait for that to be done. We thought it'd be a good idea to have a look at them for the future. Firstly, we have the Gazanti. This behemoth has 3 red dice, no green dice, 11 hull, and 5 shields, which you actually regain a shield each turn. It also has 3 energy, of which you regain 1 energy each turn, and these are used to actually allow you to fire some of the upgrades on there. For actions, it has focus, reinforce, lock, coordinate, and the jam action. And with epic ships, they can actually do 2 actions a turn, which just really goes to show the massive crew that is on these ships. Now this ship can be used as a mobile base with which to launch a wing of TIEs from it to deliver them straight into the fight while keeping them unhurt until they get there. It has 4 title cards for you to adapt its speciality to your liking and can be loaded out with a number of upgrades to support your squadron. Now, the big, bad, mean Raider is up next, and this is the closest we'll ever get to having a Star Destroyer in the game. This ship has a 4 dice, 180 forward arc, no green dice, 20 hull, 8 shields, of which you gain 2 back each turn, and 6 energy, which again you will gain 2 back each turn. It has the same actions as the Gazanti, so focus, reinforced, lock, coordinate, and jam. And again, you can do 2 actions each turn. However, this ship just provides so much more punch and can be a devastating first strike weapon that can handle almost any ship it's going to come up against. Your only real options of survivability is taking the Tantive against it, to be honest. It also has 4 title cards for you to mold it just how you like, including the ability to dock 2 small base ships to it to deliver them straight into the fight. Now you can equip hard points to these ships, which gives them more firing options, including proton cannons, ion cannons. They can take their own versions of munitions, which are truly devastating when used against medium, large, and small base ships. And these ships really encapsulate the Empire's shock and awe tactics, spreading fear across the table near you. Well, there you go, pilots. That is all of the ships you can field in the Empire faction. Don't forget to check out the first part to see the standard ships of the Empire faction. And if you don't currently fly them, hopefully this will give you some idea of what you may be facing across the table. In the meantime, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you do enjoy what we're doing here, we have a link for our Patreon in the description below, but we will see you next time.